The stadium where the most matches will be played during the FIFA World Cup 2026 has a retractable roof that weighs as much as 20 Boeing 737 planes. In 2006, when its construction was underway, the engineering team had to build a roof weighing 1,500 tons, which could be opened and closed as needed, and all this on a structure that had neither walls nor any pillars. At that time, this was the world's largest stadium, featuring the longest unsupported arches ever built. But the problem was that the stadium's arches were curved at a 30-degree angle, and at this angle, not only was it impossible to open such a heavy roof, but even sliding it was out of the question. It's like trying to pull the weight of 20 Boeing airplanes up a slope. Dozens of engineers were called in for this challenge. Every possible idea was tested, but all the experiments failed. In the end, the idea that succeeded was invented 150 years ago by a person who had absolutely nothing to do with engineering. Once again, welcome back to the video, viewers. The stadium considered the top favorite for FIFA 2026 is the AT&T Stadium located in the city of Arlington, Texas. Spanning an area of 3 million square feet, this magnificent stadium offers a seating capacity of 80,000 at a time. The interior space is 3 million cubic meters. That means the entire perimeter of Giza could fit inside it, and even then, people would still be able to sit inside. Speaking of height, even if you stood the Statue of Liberty inside, it still wouldn't touch the roof. When we look at the stadium and then examine its features, for a moment it's hard to believe how it could have been built. 2 arches, each 400 meters long and without any pillars, a retractable roof weighing 1,500 tons, central air conditioning, and a height equivalent to a 12-story building. Sliding glass doors. All these challenges arose when, in 2006, the National Football League (NFL) in America needed a new stadium in Texas. The American football team Dallas Cowboys demanded a stadium that would not only be used for just 8 to 10 football matches a year, but could be utilized and generate revenue throughout the entire year. Now, Texas is known for its winter storms in the cold season and scorching sunlight in the summer. Using the stadium year-round means it would have to be indoors, and that too with climate control. Normally, when a roof is to be placed over any structure, pillars are erected to support it. But if pillars are put up inside a stadium, they would obstruct the audience's view of the match. That was the issue. The very first challenge for architect Brian Truby, who faced some of the toughest challenges of his career in this project, was to design a stadium without any pillars at all. But for Brian, the challenge wasn't just to design a roof without pillars. Not only would that roof have to support a load of 1,500 tons, but it would also have to hold the world's heaviest LED screen. The weight of the screen alone was calculated to be 600,000 kilograms. In other words, the total weight would be 2,100 tons. The solution to this was hidden in a structure from history that everyone has forgotten today. In 1875, engineers were laying a railway line in Portugal, but their work came to a halt when they reached the banks of the Tour and River. This river, which is 170 meters wide and up to 20 meters deep, also had a very strong current at that time, which meant that pillars could not be installed to build a bridge here. To solve this problem, French engineer Gustave Eiffel was called in. Eiffel designed a parabolic arch supported by the river banks that would not require any pillars. Of course, at that time, such a large arch seemed impossible, but Eiffel proved everyone wrong. It wasn't just the design of the day that was bearing the weight of the bridge. If you look closely, you'll see that there are small triangles inside it, and these very triangles are what is the biggest secret behind its strength, because the triangle is the only shape in the world that, no matter how much pressure you apply to it, it may break, but it will never change its shape. In engineering terms, the structure of these triangles is called a truss system, and Gustave Eiffel's very discovery was also used in Texas's AT&T, but never on such a massive scale. 2 arches, each 1,400 feet long, with a thickness of 14 feet and a depth of 35 feet were constructed. All their weight was distributed onto 4 concrete abutments built 400 meters apart. Each abutment used as much concrete as would be needed to build 200 houses of 200 square yards each. And because these arches were made of steel, which could expand in the Texas heat and even crack the concrete, expansion joints were placed between the steel and the abutments were installed, allowing the stadium to breathe. 8 months later, the roof work was completed. Now, without any pillars, the open stadium roof was ready. In the middle, an iconic rectangular opening was left as a tribute to the Dallas Cowboys' old stadium. But in the AT&T Stadium, this opening had to be covered with a retractable roof to withstand all kinds of weather. However, no one anticipated just how difficult this task would be. No one had any idea. The retractable roof panels, whose total weight was 10 times heavier than the world's heaviest animal, the blue whale, proved to be an extremely difficult task to open and close on these sloped arches. Obviously, when the roof opens, it has to be stopped due to gravity, and to lift it up means going against gravity, which is like lifting 10 blue whales. For this task, the roof panels were first divided into 2 equal parts so that when the roof opens, the weight is evenly distributed on both sides of the truss. Now, if heavy-duty winches were used to open and close them, the weight of the winches themselves would add at least another 3,000 tons to lift the 1,500-ton panels. And if even one winch failed to open a panel at the same speed as the others, the balance of the truss would be lost, and then it would be nothing short of a disaster. Secondly, if the steel wire of the winch were to break by accident, it would mean a huge catastrophe. To solve this problem, engineers turned to an invention that is 150 years old. Interestingly, the inventor was not an engineer. In the 19th century, a businessman named Sylvester Marsh, who was in the meatpacking business and was very fond of hiking, used to often go hiking on a mountain called Mount Washington in New Hampshire. Climbing this mountain was not something an ordinary person could do, and that's why most tourists would turn back from the base itself. In 1869, Marsh designed a railway track known as the Cog Railway or Rack Railway. In this, there is a rack installed in the middle of the track where the gear's teeth can fit in. The part with the rack on the track is called the rack, and the gear part attached to the train is called the pinion. Now the train could easily climb any mountain without slipping. To prevent the train from rolling backward, a lock was placed on top of the pinion, which only allows it to rotate in one direction. If you've ever experienced a cog railway or a roller coaster, the continuous hammering sound you hear while climbing up is actually from this very lock. This genius invention was named the rack and pinion. For the retractable roof of the AT&T Stadium, it was decided to install this very rack and pinion system. The line you see on the stadium's roof is the rack or track on which the panels can easily open with a strong grip. For this task, 130 motors of 7.5 horsepower each were installed, which power the pinion to close the roof and act as brakes when opening it. And because the gear size is fixed, both roof panels open evenly and the weight is distributed equally on both sides of the truss. It takes 12 minutes for this stadium's retractable roof to open. Keeping the entire stadium cool during the summer was no small feat either. The volume inside the closed stadium is 3 million cubic meters, which is equivalent to the volume of 75,000 standard rooms at a surprising store. Cooling such a large volume is like cooling 3 Burj Khalifa-sized buildings from top to bottom. Air conditioning. You may have heard of air conditioners with a capacity of 1.5 tons, 2 tons, or at most 4 tons, but at the surprising store, a 1,000-ton chiller has been installed in the stadium. The ducts themselves are as thick as 6 feet because according to the laws of physics, cold air is heavier. These ducts blow cold air from above, which passes over the audience and falls onto the field, while the warm air, being lighter, accumulates in the empty space above the field from where it is recycled again. To make the audience's viewing experience spectacular, the AT&T Stadium installed the world's largest LED screen of that time. This screen has a total weight of 600,000 kilograms. It is fitted with more than 10 million LEDs. As tall as a 10-story building, this screen is suspended 50 meters above the pitch. To provide a view from all sides, the total surface area of this LED screen is as large as a 3,000 square yard plot. No matter which corner you are sitting in, this stadium screen can be seen from every direction. The stadium doors are as tall as a 12-story building made of glass. These are not made in one piece but assembled from small panels. Each panel weighs about 86,000 kilograms. These insulated glass doors also open and close with the help of the same rack and pinion system. It takes about 18 minutes for these massive doors to fully open or close. Now, let's come to the main area where the game will be played. At AT&T, turf has been installed over concrete so that not only football but other games can also be played here by removing the turf. But now, for FIFA 2026, the stadium management is facing a new challenge. According to FIFA rules, soccer matches can only be played on real grass, not on artificial turf. To fulfill this requirement and meet FIFA's condition, the Dallas Cowboys have set aside a budget of $300 million. But the question is, how will real grass be grown on a concrete floor? The stadium's roof doesn't open fully to provide equal sunlight to all the grass. To address this, the stadium management has raised the field by 6 inches. A special drainage system has been installed underneath to remove water from the grass. A special drainage system has been installed and artificial ultraviolet lights have been set up to maintain sunlight. The stadium management's plan is that the real grass will not be grown inside the stadium but rather on a farm in Colorado, and then close to the match it will be brought in refrigerated trucks and installed. Along with this, there are also plans to increase the stadium's original seating capacity, which is 80,000 to 1,941,000. A total of 9 matches will be played at the AT&T Stadium for FIFA 2026, with the very first one taking place here on June 14th, and the World Cup semi-final will also be held here on July 14th. After that, the real grass will be removed and turf will be laid again. We hope that you will also like and share this MTV video wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for your loving comments. See you in the next amazing video.